Hey, what's up, guys? It's Chris Teresi here, professional sports bettor, founder of www.wecoverspreads.com. Here to give you the betting marketplace breakdown on the Cincinnati NC State game tonight. Um, Before that, though, I want you guys to check out my new blog, the NFL Smart Money Report Week 3 edition. It's giving you guys a behind-the-counter view from my Vegas oddsmaker contact, NYC bookie contact, of where the early sharp money is going. I break down every single NFL game on there, so I think that's really helpful, and it's a good resource for most bettors. So I think you guys go check out my website and check out that blog on there that's up now, and you guys could use it, and definitely will help you out this weekend. Hopping right into this game here. Everywhere I'm hearing, you're looking at about 7 out of 10 tickets, 70% of the tickets coming in on Cincinnati here. That's not too much of a shocker. I think the betting public, a lot of times, they let like certain weird trends influence them. Like they see that the favorite has covered in all the Thursday night games so far this year in college football. So that kind of gives them a knee-jerk reaction to bet the favorite. If the over covers on a string of Monday night NFL games in a row, then boom, they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna bet the over in that game. So a lot of times they're influenced by little things like that, but more so than that, they're not very familiar with NC State or Cincinnati. They haven't seen either team, and squares, if they're not familiar with a team, what's they're automatically going to do? They're going to bet the favorite. So that's not too shocking for me to hear that most square money's coming in on the favorite, because I know for a fact they haven't seen Cincinnati or NC State really this year, so they're not very familiar with either team. Now, what are the sharps doing? Go out to behind the counter view with my Vegas guy. He opened this game up at 9. Said the money has streamed in on NC State. He saw books open this up at 8, 8.5. He felt his personal number was 9. He felt 8 and 8.5 were a little too low. He shot at 9, but sharps, they came in right away. Didn't like his number. Bet it all the way down to 7.5. He's telling me right now in Vegas there's other shops around him starting to go down even as low as 7. He said there's a good chance he'll be down to 7 by kickoff. So sharps definitely in Vegas, definitely like NC State in this spot. In New York, we open this game up at 7 at the local shops here. Quickly, bang, 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 money came in on Cincinnati. They skipped everything and went right to 8.5. It went from 7 to 8.5. That's how quick the money flowed in on Cincinnati. But what has happened in the last 2 days is sharps have been buying back on Cincinnati. It's called coming over the top. So a lot of guys who had those early Cincinnati -7 tickets, they're buying off that Cincinnati position. They're coming in heavier with bigger bets on NC State. So they're basically buying off their initial bet, taking NC State. There's guys who I've heard that weren't even involved with Cincinnati early that have been betting NC State today and yesterday. So he's back down to 7.5, and he said there's a good chance he could possibly be down to 7 by kickoff on this game because of the way that the sharp money is flowing in on the dog in this one. Something I like to do, I like to break down each team. I like to see who can control the line of scrimmage, the run game, run defense. I want to see what the quarterbacks are like, and I want to see what the turnovers are looking like. We'll start with NC State here. They're averaging 122 yards per game, 3.7 yards per carry. Defensively, 105 yards per game they're giving up. They're allowing 3.2 yards per carry, so defense doing a pretty good job against the run offense. That's all I gotta say. We'll get into that. Feel some numbers are skewed. Cincinnati doing a fine job running the ball, 239 yards, 6 yards per carry right now. Looking really good. Isaiah Peed being a beast up there. The question in the beginning of the year was that Cincinnati offensive front line had a couple new pieces on it. A lot of people were questioning whether or not they would get the job done, and so far so good. They're doing a good job. Defensively, Cincinnati been pretty good against the run, giving up 127 yards per game, 3.7 per carry. So both teams' run defenses are holding opponents to under 4 yards per carry so far this year. As we go into the quarterback breakdown, Mike Glennon for NC State has 8 touchdowns. He only threw 1 pick, 745 yards, 64% completion percentage. He's doing a fine job there. Zach Collaros for Cincinnati, he has a 7 touchdown, 0 interception ratio, 521 passing yards, and 62% completion percentage right now. We look at the turnover ratio here. NC State, they're +5 right now, doing a good job grabbing them picks, hopping on those loose balls, the loose fumbles. Cincinnati's an absolute beast, +12 in the turnover ratio heading into this game right now. They're getting the job done. They're not turning it over. Defense doing a fine job. That defense that brought back 10 starters from a year ago. Um, so now I don't have a premium play. I don't have a bet on this game, but I'm going to actually agree with the squares in this game. If I was to lean, you put a gun to my head, I'm going to say I like Cincinnati, and I'm going to tell you why. Um, the reason I like Cincinnati here, I feel NC State's numbers are skewed. Right now, they're averaging under 4 yards per game running the ball, and they've played Liberty and South Alabama and Wake Forest. So they've only played one quality opponent. I watched the tape on that Liberty game. Mike Glennon, that offensive line, they did it. They had a tough time protecting him. Liberty hung around, so the box score is definitely the box scores can be misleading, put it that way. NC State did not look that good. I know it was their first game, and against a non-Division One FBS opponent, but they just definitely they didn't look that impressive in that game to me. I watched the Wake Forest tape. Now, Wake Forest is a team I've been saying I think they're going to be very improved this year. They did a good job stopping the Wake Forest run, which shows to me, okay, NC State may be pretty good against the run, but their secondary looked horrible. Wake Forest is not the best passing team. They have a young quarterback. So to me, Coloros and this Cincinnati receiver corps can do some big damage here today against this NC State secondary. I feel they have a good advantage against them, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him wing the ball all over them today. And I think Cincinnati could even possibly, if that pass opens up, even they could take advantage with the run too. They have a good running game right now. So I don't like the NC State defense. They're very banged up, especially now Terrell Manning is out. He's like probably their best linebacker. He was a top 10 recruit everywhere you looked. He's not going to play. Their captain, who was a defensive lineman, he's out. They have, I think, 4 or 5 starters out on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't like that. I think NC State brought back they did bring back, I think, 6 of their 7 top tacklers from last year, but a lot of these guys are hurt. A lot of these guys aren't playing. So is NC State the team they were last year when they won 9 games and beat West Virginia in the bowl? They could have been, but due to injuries, I think they're not, and I think they're going to get exposed today. We've seen them play two opponents who are basically, they shouldn't even be playing. So Cincinnati, meanwhile, they've played Tennessee and they didn't look that bad at first, and then they got blown out as the game went in. That was their only real quality opponent. They took care of Akron and blew out Austin Peay. So I think they played a tougher schedule, and I've seen a little bit more from them against tougher opponents than what NC State has played. NC State hasn't played anybody. I think the Cincinnati secondary is amazing, and I think Mike Glennon's stats are definitely skewed from playing 2 very weak opponents, and this will be the toughest defense and toughest secondary that he's yet to play. So, me personally, I know I'm going against a lot of the sharps right now. I think their initial move to take Cincinnati at -7 was a good move. I agree with the sharps. Again, I don't agree with it enough to put my own money on it and bet it, but gun to my head, I lean Cincinnati here. And just a couple of trends for you guys. I know you guys like trends. You got to look at Tom O'Brien is 12-7 against the spread as an away dog since he took over NC State coming over from Boston College. And Butch Jones, he's 6-8 against the spread, but 2-0 against the spread this year as a home favorite. So a lot of times college football trends just toss them out the window because teams change year to year. It's not like the pros where you get the same core players possibly around every year. Guys graduate, guys transfer, guys get hurt, guys drop out of school. So much stuff changes year to year with football, so college football. So I think the trends, take it with a grain of salt. But that's it. That's your breakdown. My free lean for you is I'd probably take Cincinnati if you put a gun in my head to put my money on this game. All right, guys, take care, and I'll check back with you tomorrow.